topics and opinions expressed on the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4WN Radio.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for tuning in. I see we already have a guest. She happens to be a student I had, how many years ago, Johnny? Almost 20 years or more. It's been a long time. Welcome to my channel. And I hope we have more that are going to come on with questions for the Archangel Raphael. It has been my great joy and privilege to be a channel for this Archangel who is the healing light. He is bringing forth peace upon our planet, and we are finally experiencing it. With our new president, we're going to see a lot more light shining upon the United States of America and the entire world. And so today, we wanted to talk a little bit about the lingering anxiety, about the conspiracy theories, QAnon, and all of those worry mongers that, okay, Johnny corrected me, it's been 40 years. So, wow, that's a long time. And how wonderful to have a student of that long ago to still be in my life. Thank you, my darling, for being here. And I hope you have some questions for Raphael. So today, as I said, we wanted to talk about the lingering fear and anxiety. We had someone who showed that fear about the new president, Joe Biden, that he was somehow a part of QAnon and all these horrific things that they say people do. This is absolutely not true. And then there are others who are saying something about his Catholic religion. Well, I can tell you, dear ones, that I was raised a Catholic myself. And the religion is a very, very beautiful one that goes back right to the time of St. Peter. It began in St. Peter. Now, everybody has their own not a part of this understanding, but I want to assure you today that there are no conspiracy theories with this president. Everything will be, so you will be able to see it. You will be. You can ask them. And so, all right, we had to check there. So be at peace. And I'm sure you can already feel the good energy. Now we finally have a plan for the coronavirus. There was no plan before. There was no federal distribution, the federal governing of the whole thing, so that instead of all the different governors trying to figure out what to do and trying to figure out where to get all of the serum and the things that they needed, now we will have one source that we can talk to. This is so much better than what was before. We're going to finally make some progress. We're going to have the testing and the tracing so that we know when people are spreading the virus. This is why President Biden has asked us to wear a mask. And I know there's still people that rebel against it, like a little child that's told to put on his earmuffs when he goes outside. And don't be that way. Those who are listening, I'm sure, are already wearing a mask because they're smart enough to know to protect themselves. Okay, so today, let us talk about what are the things that worry you. Johnny, do you have anything that you could add that you're concerned about? And we can ask Raphael to look at it from that angelic perspective and see what we can do. Or have you heard other people who are concerned about whatever. Since there's so many misinformation and actual lies that have been perpetuated by the previous president. Okay. All right, I've got a question that comes in here. I'm going to go right up to the top. I've had someone that said that, so when you are told to walk behind your man, you're just going to do so without question? Well, if you're speaking about President Biden as my man, of course I'm not going to do it without question. I'm an independent thinker. And Joe Biden does not want us to just blindly follow him. That's why he set up so many good people in his cabinet. So you see, dear ones, Raphael is inspiring him as to who will be the best people to take charge of the various parts of the government. He's not going to try to do it all. This is where this man has humility. And I'm not going to even mention the other man's name ever again. So we're going to talk about the things that people are afraid of, which is to blindly follow somebody. No, nobody should do that, especially in government. You need to question your Democratic and your Republican leaders. You need to ask them, what are they doing to bring peace to the world rather than fear mongering? And so it's really important that you support the leaders that you have chosen to be in office. And it's also important, if you didn't choose those leaders, to now be an American and show that you can live up to your responsibility to not follow blindly, to question when you have questions, to ask for answers, and to look for the truth. This is where we got lost, and this before, because there was so much misinformation that was put out there that we were like dizzy with it. Last I heard was that 45 had over, I think it was 92,000 lies. That's incredible. And that's because this soul, this beautiful soul of Donald Trump, I'm going to mention his name once, is loved by God, and the angels are always there to protect him. But our whole experience as a sentient being on planet Earth is to make wise choices that will lead to our next experience. Now, because this last president was a very young soul who had no experience, very little experience in the physical world, his soul didn't know how to make good decisions. He was only looking out for his physical body's comfort, what made him feel good in his mental, his emotional, his intellectual body. And that's why he went astray. He was led blindly, just as many people who are following him even now. They are blindly following him. And this is where you are so right. You do not walk behind somebody without questioning, without saying, wait a minute, where are we going? And how are we going to get there? And what does it take from me to get there? What do I have to contribute to follow this leader? That's where you are right in asking to be given specifics. You have a right to demand the specifics of what this president is asking of you. He's asking 100 days of wearing a mask, 100 days to celebrate his 100 days in office and to bring down the deaths caused by this horrific virus. And now he's also got a plan of how to distribute the vaccine and how to get more if we need it, and to have some semblance of order so that there is a plan in action where it's not just hither, there, some people get it, some people don't. There's a plan, there's a distribution. And that's going to be organized on a federal level, which means all across the United States. It won't be just a few governors who were wise and brave enough to do something. And now it's like Phew, we finally have a leader that will give us what we need without us having to crawl on our hands and knees and beg for it. So no, don't ever follow anybody when without question. And I'm looking to see if I'm see if there's anybody else that has asked a question. Um, um, Someone is saying the thought never crossed your mind that they are making immune systems weak, not letting exposure to things. Uh, no, it hasn't crossed my mind because I listen to the science. Now, this is what I call misinformation. If you believe that our immune system will become weak because of this vaccine, then you don't know your facts. And this is what upsets me when I know what Raphael is telling me. You have to remember you're listening to me because I'm a channel for an archangel of healing. And the Archangel Raphael, I just got winged. Do you know what that means? I got chills from head to foot when I give a truth. And the truth is, the Archangel Raphael is the angel of healing. Do you really think this archangel that has been my truth for probably all of my life, but I've been actively being a channel for the archangel for 50 years now? And so, dear ones, trust the archangel when he says you can trust Joe Biden. You can trust the new cabinet that he's putting in to help him run the government. He isn't going to try to do it all by himself. He's going to find experts in each of the fields, just like he got Dr. Fauci back to be in charge of the coronavirus. And remember, scientists can look at this virus under a microscope and they can see its size and shape. It's called coronavirus because it has like a halo around it. And you've seen pictures of it, but they're not accurate. But that's how science can tell you this virus is this and it has mutated to that. And that's what happens with viruses. They kind of pick up other viruses and then okay, you can trust. The vaccine will help you to stay alive. So, granted, it's going to take a while to get it out to everybody, and they're trying to get old people like me first to do it. And when the time is right, I will. But right now, I am so busy trying to help people overcome the fears that they have accumulated within their cellular structure, that there is anxiety in their shoulders and in their stomach and in their back because they have been fed fear for 4 years. And it's hard to overcome fear and anxiety. And when you see what fear and anxiety can do, like what happened in the Capitol, that's what angry mobs do. They are so consumed with the fear that they will not have justice or they will not have their needs met, that they get angry and they force their ideas on others. They don't try to do it in a democratic republic that is our United States. If you have a grudge, if you have a problem, talk to your senator and your congressperson. Tell them what you want to see happen. They're your representative for this whole United States for 4 years. Talk to them. Tell them what you believe, what you feel, how you feel about it. And then if they don't answer back, just keep hammering at them. Pick up the phone and call them. That's how it works. You don't just storm the Capitol and try to change things by force. That's not a democracy. That's tyranny. And that's what Putin has done. If somebody goes against him, he'll poison them or he'll have them killed because he will remain in office. The people of his government don't like that. They want to be rid of him. They don't want any kind of tyranny, somebody who will do what he wants no matter what. Look at those governments that have that. North Korea is another one. China is another one. And we have to show the world that as a democracy, we, the people, run our government. You have to speak up. If you're not happy with things, write a letter to the president, write a letter to the vice president, write a letter to your congressperson. Let them know you're not happy about something. But don't believe the fear mongers. Don't believe anything that is negative about that vaccine. It is proven to work. Now, deep breath, everyone. Deep breath. Draw in the love and the compassion of the Archangel Raphael. Let yourself feel its wings wrapped around you to tell you you are safe. You do not have to worry about anybody taking away from you what you want. I'm looking down at and seeing, is it science proven? Okay, is it science proven that the masks make people they're trying to say it is science proven that the masks make people sick on their own bacteria they are trying to release from the body. Well, here again, I'd want to see the scientific proof because I've been wearing a mask and I haven't gotten sick from wearing a mask only when I go to the grocery store or even if I go to Walmart's to pick up things I need. I wear a mask. I haven't gotten sick from my own viruses. That's not logical. Please, dear ones, check out the science and the truth of things. It is not scientifically proven that it is so. I'm going to have to turn that off. Okay. Even doctors say the mask doesn't work. No. If those doctors are telling you that, they're not listening to the science that is proving masks do work. You can't use a mask over and over again. Then you might be putting a virus back into yourself. You need a fresh mask every day. And if you have cloth masks, I'm going to have to just turn this off. I forgot to turn my phone off. I'm sorry about that, people. Now, all right. So let's look at this again. If there is a doctor that is saying that, then you are not listening to a doctor that really has the facts. Even doctors. My comment was not about your president. It was meaning when women are less than men, they have to walk behind them to stay in order. Oh, yes, that's a very big problem. Women who believe they are less than men will walk behind them. And there have been cultures that teach women to be subservient to men. And I know the wedding vows that I had with my first husband was saying that you are now subservient to this man until death do you part. Well, I didn't quite buy into that. After 32 years, I said, I'm dying here. I have to leave this marriage or it will kill me. And so, okay, it's meaning that when women think they are less, let's clarify that. If women think they are less equal than men, then look at our vice president. Look at the spunk that woman has. She was a prosecutor for her whole state of California. She has a law degree. She was a prosecutor and a sharp one. And as she has said, when she was sworn in, she wants to prove not only that Black woman, an Asian woman, and a woman can be a vice president, but all little girls can achieve to be president if they want, which is saying, get rid of that idea that I have to walk 2 feet behind a man to keep a man. I love being by myself, dear ones. And so don't be that. You have free will. You, if you are women out there, have free will just as a man does. And if a man tries to dominate you using anger, then you have to get away from that. You have to stand up to it. I remember the first time I finally stood up to my first husband when he was yelling at me. I'm not yelling, but his voice was raised and he was yelling. And finally I yelled back, and I stuck my finger right in his face, and I backed him right up into the kitchen. And he was like, whoa, what happened to her? And believe me, he didn't give me that much problem afterwards. He couldn't dominate me. When you become an independent soul created by God to be explicitly who you are, Raphael tells us your soul was created by God to be an explorer of physical planets. You are exploring this planet of polarities, of gravity that keeps us feeling heavy and weighted down. And yet, each night, your spirit duplicate of your body just floats out of your body and goes sailing around everywhere, looking around, even can come down and visit me and see my beautiful place in Florida. You are a free spirit, dear ones. And so I hope that answers your question. Let's say now, it's not safe from people taking things they don't know things about. Taking things, how can they take something if they don't know anything about it? I'm lost here. You'll have to clarify that question. No, there will always be people who will try to dominate other people, who will steal, who will cheat, who will lie. We've certainly had an experience of that for 4 years. That's a baby soul. There are souls of all ages on the planet. And those wise old souls, you know who they are. They're the heroes and heroines of our stories. And they come to the planet to bring us wisdom and guidance. There are many of them. And all you have to do is look around, and you'll find that this wise old soul you thought was just your neighbor is really a soul that is filled with compassion and love and honesty and integrity. That's how you can tell if they're an old soul or not, if they have compassion and love. Okay, so clarification is people just doing because government says to, taking things said without knowing things to be true. Oh, yes, but those are young souls, dear one. These are souls that will follow a leader blindly. They'll drink the Kool-Aid and die because of it. And many of them have died because they didn't wear a mask, because the president was showing them they didn't need to wear a mask. And even when the president got the virus, he was able to be whisked off to at a hospital that had all kinds of staff that could take care of him. We don't have that. So we have to listen to the science. Are people doing this because the government says so? No, dear ones, you're not doing it because the government says so. You're doing it because you studied the facts. You listened to the science. You listened to what other people had to say about it, not just those who are fear mongers. Those are the ones that say, oh, don't do that, it will kill you, or don't do that, that's a lot. Take a deep breath and ask Raphael, ask the archangels to give you truth. And to do that, you have to raise your consciousness out of fear and anxiety into a sense of joy, of something that would make you laugh, that makes you want to dance, in the music that's in your head, not music that somebody else has put on the radio that you don't even like. You are a divine being of light. You have free will. And all these questions are about people who would blindly follow what somebody says just because they're in power or in government or are supposed to be doing whatever, and they're supposed to be the law. Question everything. All right. Now, let's see. I think I've gotten everybody. More questions. Let's have more questions, everybody. And I'm going to check to see how we're doing for time. Oh, we still have some time. Do we have time yet, Rebel? Thank you. Okay, back to the questions. Now, let's make sure today's, what should I say, message from Archangel Raphael is to free yourself of all the misinformation that has been thrown at you. I'm getting a picture of spaghetti being thrown against a wall, dripping down, dripping down. And the poor people below are drowning in it. This spaghetti that all of these lies that have been formated to keep people under control. And this can happen in a relationship where a person will tell lies just because they don't want to have anybody dealing with the truth of what's going on, because then they'd have to fess up that they lied. So be aware, but don't be afraid. Call upon your archangels. There are many of them. You have a guardian angel that was assigned to your soul the instant you were born of God. And you've been around many times, dear ones, or you wouldn't be here. And so spread the word, show compassion to others. Don't listen to the negativity. Don't allow it to upset you and drag you down. You need to lift up your spirits so that you can connect with your own angels. If you have anxiety and fear and listening to all of this negativity, you can't hear your angels. You have to be filled with joy. You have to be like a buoyant balloon because you got to meet your angels halfway. And that means smile instead of frown. Believe instead of fear that you're being lied to. Check the facts. Ask for information. Go to different radio, TV, news stations than what you've been watching. If you've been watching just one, we suggest that you listen to others. And we would suggest Rachel Maddow is a wonderful, an intelligent woman who can sort out the news. We can tell you that there are others who will do it in humor, that you can get the truth. Don't just listen to one person. Get news from others. And public broadcasting is certainly one you can trust. It's supported by you and me, and it doesn't have big business that's trying to sway you to a way of thinking. And it only has contributors that are advertised. And so, public broadcasting, PBS, check them out. And check out, my favorite one is MSNBC, because I like the people on there and I can trust them. So start looking elsewhere for your information and check it against what you've been getting. And you will find that you are indeed, okay, I'm seeing, do we have just one? Lots of time. Thank you, Rebel. Thank you. Okay. All right. You need to check the facts. And I'm talking about everybody. Okay. So, no, we don't want people who are just doing what the government says. Now, here again, President Biden is saying, please wear a mask for the 100 days, the first 100 days, to see if we can do something. Let's prove whether those masks work to cut down on the virus. If you remember, when there were groups that gathered that were not wearing masks, people got sick. But when people gathered and they were wearing masks, they didn't get sick. That in itself is proof. The masks do work. But you can't use the same mask over and over again without washing it or getting a clean mask. This is why you can buy them in boxes of 100, and you can just put them on, use them for that trip to the grocery store, take them off and throw them away. If anything, if you keep using the same mask, that's how you can get into trouble by perhaps breathing in your own sinus problem, and it just exacerbates it. All right, I think people are doing, am I getting some? Okay, my own negativity was stopping me. Whoops, read the mask box, read the mask box. Where's the mask box? Okay, back to Johnny. I don't know what people are saying, read the mask box. The 100 days. Joe Biden has said for the first 100 days of his presidency, he would like everybody to wear a mask. And he is dictating, which he can do, that anybody who is in a governmental building must wear a mask. You cannot enter any of the government buildings without a mask. And there are stores, I know Home Depot insists that Okay, the box you buy a mask, read the box they come in. Well, would you read it to me right now if you got one and tell me what it is you're talking about? Because all I know is it's just a mask and it's disposable. You are not supposed to wear it again. You're supposed to throw it away. Now, the cloth masks, I've had some people that have given me a cloth mask. I have one that says Happy New Year on it, but I wear it only once and then I put it in the laundry. You cannot wear them again because you're defeating the purpose. If that mask has kept the virus from coming at you, it's on the outside of the mask. So you need to wash it. This is all about science. This is all about germs that you can't see. This is all about truth. And so, okay, Johnny Ketchup posted an update. Okay, I'll try and get to that on Facebook. Okay, I'm still looking to see, how do I get rid of that? Okay, all right. The only thing I can say to you now is feel the energy as it has raised up as Raphael predicted it would. Raphael said that when people lift their consciousness out of fear and anxiety, they will feel as though they are lighter by pounds. They will feel inspired. They will figure out truth versus falsehood. They will know that they are safe. But if you are in a lower consciousness of fear and anxiety that somebody out there is going to screw up and it's going to cause you problems, what you focus on, you will experience. This is a law of the universe, people. If you have that fear in your mind and you focus on it, you can bet your bottom dollar you're going to experience something of like mind. So cancel those thoughts out of your head. I'm not saying to be illiterate or not to pay attention. I'm saying to think about your emotional barometer. Way up at the top is joy and bliss and peace and harmony. And down, 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 down at the bottom is depression and despair. If you are worried about all of the evil in the world, and I did hear somebody that was talking about the what do they call it? The rising up, the not being left behind. If you read that series, oh my gosh, that was really bad. That Left Behind series, very, very negative. And I would not recommend it to anybody. And this is not true. The Christ coming is the Christian idea of truth and beauty and goodness that is in your heart. You are a Christed being. You are the second coming, dear ones. That may sound, if you read the Bible, you cannot interpret it literally. The Bible is a metaphorical story, and it is good for all times, for all ages. But it holds those truths of honesty and integrity and compassion for one another as being the Christed way. And then when you become a light bearer, a Christed light bearer, you are the second coming. Now, I'm not being sacrilegious or trying to deny the Bible when I say that. I'm saying to you, Christ has come and is here with us now. We just don't have a leader who's going to call himself the Christ come again. If you do, don't believe it. Christ dwells within you. Jesus, the man, is able to be with anybody who calls upon him. How does he do that? Because he's spirit, and spirit can be in many places at once. Just like Raphael, there are more channelers of Raphael than just Betty Ray. And so you have to look at what they're saying to believe if they are truly an archangel or if they're just somebody's fantasy about being a channel. I can't get the words out. I remember one person came to me after they'd had a psychic reading. Now, remember, I do not claim to be a psychic, nor do I claim to be a medium, somebody who talks to the dead. I speak with the archangel. He gives me his ideas telepathically. And if somebody says, is it possible for you to talk to my mother who's passed on? I don't do that. I ask Raphael to go fetch her mother and bring her here if she's willing. I don't do that. Raphael does. Okay, we clarified that. Now, please understand again that you are a soul with a spirit and a physical body and an intellectual body and an emotional body. And all of it's working together. But your emotions can cause you all kinds of grief if you are living in fear and anxiety that what your needs won't be met. If you focus on that your needs are not being met and woe is me and poor me, you're going to get more of the same because, again, it's the law of the universe. What you focus on becomes reality because you are a co-creator with God. You are made up of God energy, and you have been sent here to learn to be a creator for good. And so re-examine your goals. And if your goals are because you don't want to wear a mask, or your goal is you don't believe this and you believe that, then experience what you will reap. For what you sow, you shall indeed reap. If you are experiencing anxiety and not joy, raise your consciousness in the truth that is God loves you. The Christ is in you, helping you to see beauty and goodness all around you. When you focus on what is good, you create more of it in your life. And I am certainly an example of that. I practice what I preach. And Raphael has taught me so much. How could I not? I have learned to be joyful, to be blissful. And in so doing, all my needs are met this day and every day of my life. I tell you to say that as a mantra. And when you get up in the morning, say, thank you, God, for this day and all my needs being met. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Always be grateful. Always give thanks. Make that more of your thoughts than your, oh, help me do this, help me, save me from this. And granted, I do ask for help because I'm an old woman and I do have my aches and pains. And in fact, I created a medicine wheel in the back acreage that I have here, and we're just finishing the touches on it. I'm going to have my meditation group here tomorrow. I'm so looking forward to it. They haven't seen any of the work that we have done on my property. And so we're going to bless again the medicine wheel. And there are 4 quadrants to it. So there's the spiritual, the mental, the physical, and the emotional quadrants. And if they're having an emotional problem, they'll sit in that emotional quadrant and allow the Native American spirituality, the wisdom of the Native Americans to bring to them the angels that will help them solve their problems. When you sit quietly and you call upon your own guardian angel, it will never fail you. It's an it. I had somebody give me a problem about calling an angel an it, but it is. It's non-gender. The angels don't have male, female, although our artists will make them look a lot more often female and very sexual. In fact, they're not that. They're pure spirit, and they are filled with joy. And when you tap into that angelic realm, you just feel yourself feeling like you're going to levitate right out of your chair. So, dear ones, let's see. Thank you for bringing us, Raphael, and explaining the process to us. You two make a big difference in people's lives. Joy, joy, joy. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Johnny. I'm so glad that our joy is contagious. Wouldn't it be better to have my kind of joy in the world rather than all of these people, this conspiracy theorists, these people that are saying the vaccine's going to kill you, they're saying that masks are going to kill you. Stop listening to that. Know that here I am, 86 years old. I wear a mask when I go out. I am perfectly healthy, except for my aches and pains in my old age. It is a trust in what is good and what makes sense scientifically. You cannot ignore the science. They can see those little buggers that are killing us. They're these little, tiny, tiny, tiny germs. And we're trying to protect ourselves from those germs. So if somebody came into your house and had the flu, wouldn't you want to turn them around and tell them to go back home and take care of themselves? You didn't want to catch their flu. You'd immediately put a Kleenex to your mouth so you didn't get their germs, right? It's the same thing, except this stubborn little virus is very contagious, and it's spread by when you speak. You don't see it, but you have little spit droplets that spray out, and sometimes you go and you feel it coming out of your mouth. That's why you wear a mask, not to protect yourself from others so much as protect others from you. And they're doing that to protect you. You could be carrying the virus and not even know it. But your droplets, when you talk to them and you spray out that invisible spray, that's how they get it. It's very simple. One little droplet of spray from your spittle can give somebody the virus and cause them death. Why would you want to take that chance? Why would you have a pride in thinking it's not masculine if I wear a mask? That's ridiculous. It is intelligent, and it is masculine, and it is vital for us to overcome being the worst country in the world for deaths from this virus because we've had no plan as to what to do to stop it. And you stop it by wearing a mask, dear ones. Oh, my goodness, I've got to check the time. Still got lots of time. Thank you very much. So, more questions, everybody. I'm right here for you. And I want to put in a plug. If you can do that for me, Rebel, don't hesitate to email me at angelbettyray@gmail.com and ask for a private audience with Raphael. Raphael will give you such energy in this time for you to speak directly to the Archangel that you will float away from the reading. You will feel so good. And I tell you again, we don't charge. And that makes people suspicious. What's wrong with her if she isn't charging for her readings? And that's not because I couldn't use the money. I put a lot of money into my gardens and all of that. But I'm willing to make the sacrifices to bring beauty into my home and into my grounds because I think it is important. And I hope you're doing this for yourself as well. So thank you, Johnny, for acknowledging that you can see how the Archangel is a beautiful being of light, a very powerful being of light. And so is the Archangel Gabriel, the Archangel Michael, the Archangel Uriel, and each of them has their own specific job. For the Archangel Michael is called a protector. The Archangel Uriel is for those people that are working with their minds. And the Archangel Gabriel are for those people who want to be creative and who want to speak and use the words of wisdom to share with others. Call upon them in their special gifts. But no matter which ones you call on, and there are many more than those four, you will always get guidance. Just ask. Their hands are tied. They cannot work with you, dear ones, unless you ask, because they cannot interfere in your life. You have to figure it out for yourself. But when you ask for an archangel to steer you in the right direction, ideas will pop in your mind, and you will go, oh, I never thought about that. And then you follow that, and you find that works. So you go back again and ask your angel for the next step. And before you know it, you're traveling right along that path to your goal. I just got winged again. I call it winged because it's kind of that chills that just makes you feel so good. All right, dear ones, let's reiterate. We've come to you today to say, do not listen to the fear mongers. Listen to the facts. Go to the scientists and listen to the facts. And with the research that has been done, A mask does make a difference in cutting down on the coronavirus and the deaths that we have been experiencing. This is a horrific thing. People you love are just, and then I have to pause because Raphael says they didn't just die, they transmuted into a spirit being and moved to a different dimension that they will call heaven. Believe me, they are not gone. They are simply merging into their own home again. They're going back home. You will all feel that when it's your turn. But when you raise your consciousness, when you lift up your mind and your heart and your soul to God, giving thanks and joyful gratefulness for all the gifts that have been given to you, when you lift your soul up, you will experience a little bit of heaven. And that's what Jesus meant when he said, unless you become as little children, you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. Do you know the kingdom of heaven, he said, is right inside of you? Right here, right here. That kingdom of heaven is your sense of joyful, playful, childlike trust that God is never going to lead you astray. That if you need to experience fear, God's not going to stop you because you have free will. And if you don't like that feeling of fear and anxiety and not who to believe, if you don't like that, then change it. That's what's wonderful about being human. You do have a choice. If where you are isn't comfortable, find another place to be. Don't put up with makes you uncomfortable. Don't expect it. Don't allow it. And that means standing up, like this question here. Would you follow behind a man just because you finally got a man to be with you and do whatever he says because you want that man in your life? No way. No way, Jose. You have to follow your own divine guidance or you're in trouble. You are a soul, a magnificent being of light that has a color, that has a purpose, that has a plan, that has a story to tell. Rejoice and be glad in the story you have to tell. Don't let it be somebody else's story. Don't be a slave to somebody else's wishes because you believe it's your job to make them happy. Do you know that's impossible? You cannot make anybody happy. That's their free will. You can't make them happy. You can do what they say will make them happy, but once that's done, there's something else that they need. They have to take care of their own needs, not you. That's not your job. And so rejoice and be glad that you are a happy, joyful being of light, and you will not let the darkness overshadow you. You will seek out truth, and indeed, you'll read the stuff on the box. And I will read it when I get another box. In fact, I think I've still got a box. I will read it. But it certainly is not going to tell you that it's dangerous to wear it for your own health. It's going to say, once you've used it, throw it away or wash it. Okay, I hope we have that clear. Are there any other questions? And again, Johnny, I am so 40 years, my goodness. Johnny was part of my music. I think that was it. Were you part of my English class? Johnny, can you clarify? I'm not sure I remember because you were always helping me in the music room because I taught vocal music and exploratory music and guitar. At the time, I think you were with me, and you helped me organize the choral music and get it so that we could have it when we needed it. So I remember you were my student aide. That was what you were called. You were my student aide. And I recognized your brilliant mind and your way of organizing and your generous spirit. And I thank you for coming and joining us. It's just such a nice idea to know that somebody from the past is now enjoying my unique future here of bringing an archangel to you, to bring you joy. Okay, it looks like I have 3 minutes left, and I think we're saying that. Okay, oh goodness, we're down to 2 and 1. I have to say goodbye. And I thank you for coming. Please spread the news. Tell people that we are bringing joy. We have a torch that is flamed with joy, and it's the Archangel that brings it to you. Come back again next week, but also come on Thursday at 11 o'clock. I have another live chat. You can come back and ask more questions then. Until next time, dear ones, bye for now. We love you. Please wear a mask because we love you. Bye.